I think there are, what we can consider with this short story is the different approaches to religion. Everybody is different in the way they relate to religion, like, or anything else. Like, I remember when I moved to Toronto, when I moved back from Asia, I came back to Canada, I was looking for jobs. And for me, the way I related to jobs and to employment, it was overly charged. I didn't just want a job. I didn't just want a paycheck. I wanted a place in society. I wanted to be connected. I wanted to prove to myself that I can have a place outside of academia. That university, I don't have to depend on university. So something like employment can have all these associations that are external to employment itself. And I think religion for our character in the story is charged with so much. And because of it, how much it is charged, he wants stuff from it. And he wants it to be associated with a great degree of conviction and will to power, as James said. Will to power that is combined with a naivete that even allows, I mean, it enables the guide that is taking him to the tribe, even that guide steals his money. I mean, it's not that the bad things that start happening to him, they start happening even before he reaches his destination. And the other question for me is, again, is he ready to convert to this native religion of this group? Is it something about him that has opened him to this degree of, there is this passage where we read, never had a God so possessed me or enslaved me my whole life. Day and night was devoted to him. And pain and the absence of pain, wasn't that joy? Were owing to him and even, yes, desire, by dint of witnessing almost every day that impersonal and vicious act that I heard without seeing, since now I had to face the wall or get beaten. So this degree of devotion to this new God, this fetish, is this something about him that gives him this desire to be devoted like this? Is he, in a way, now at a place that he all along wanted to be? He wanted to be here. I go through these phases in my everyday life where I become more sensitive towards certain expressions. And these days, I find myself noticing every time somebody says something along the lines of, "Oh, it's all gonna work out in the end. Everything, it's all gonna be fine. It's all gonna be okay." You know, I'm thinking of one particular moment in a work meeting that somebody said that, and that's the opposite of the sentiment that appreciates tragedy. Like, an appreciation of tragedy is the you know, when we cultivate that, it's a cultivation of the sensibility that realizes that no, sometimes things don't work out at the end, and there's no reason that we should demand that guarantee, that cosmic justice. And sometimes that things not working out at the end is actually inscribed in the character from the very beginning. From the very beginning, things are set in motion in such a way that things are not going to work out. And the rest is just the unfolding of that. This is not a good example, but I just, while I was listening to James, I pulled this collection of short stories. I think there are 3 or 4 short stories in here. I think 3 and a poem by my YouTuber friend, Grant Shipway. So the title of the short stories is The Friend from Budapest. The way I understand these short stories is not, probably deviates from the way maybe Grant himself or other readers might understand. But my understanding is that Grant, at some point as a young man, after finishing college in Ottawa, he leaves Canada and he moves to Europe. And he comes back. We learn through reading these short stories, we learn that he comes back to Canada after 15 years living in Budapest, mostly living in Budapest, but in several other European countries. comes back to Canada and can no longer relate to Canadian culture. And my reading, my understanding of this destiny so far is that he didn't leave to become an outsider. He was an outsider and he wanted to give a full expression of that through leaving and then returning. And the way he returned was the fulfillment of a destiny that was already in place when he was a young person, before his journey, before the beginning of his journey. It's almost like when you believe something and you want to share that with other people. You want to tell other people that you don't really get their way of life. You don't get the way they understand values, the way they subscribe to norms, and the way they think life is about having a family, having kids, and buying a house and retiring. You want to express that, but you don't want to just say it with words. You want to live that. You want to live the difference. So you go, and then you come back, and it becomes more accentuated, the fact that you don't really fit in. You don't have a place there. And I see that in the renegade story. He's a renegade from the moment that he doesn't listen to his church. He's already, he already is out of alignment. And he wants to do something. We are talking about what he wanted to do. His will to power, but he wanted to flesh out what it means to be a renegade, in a way to be broken, to break contact with society, with his society. And he goes through this change, this conversion, and towards the end, so my reading of the end is that he becomes an instrument of this new conviction. He becomes an instrument, and he attacks his replacement, the new missionary. Even though the tribe, we hear something. I think he overhears the conversation between the tribe and the Europeans, and like, we have our soldiers here outside your territory, and we can attack you. And maybe the tribe now wants to behave in a more friendly way, but he becomes the instrument of their aggression. He becomes the part that is not suppressed, and he attacks this missionary, and then he has these mixed feelings about it. But he enacts that. He enacts their religion at the end, which is really the second most horrific part of the story. We hear two things from the beginning. One thing is that he has lost his tongue, that they've cut his tongue, and that gives the suspense about when is it going to happen through his reflections, recollections. Are we going to read that? So that's one suspense. The other suspense is that we hear he's waiting for someone that he might kill. So those two elements of suspense really make this short story like unsettling, suspenseful. But again, the main thing I wanted to say was that the pieces are there in place from the very beginning. I mean, that way of reading is available to us, that he's a renegade from the beginning. He's already revolting against what he understands as the Christian European world.